I like to call them mild Mondays, but they'll always like to be wild with mild here on Monday when we have you from coming in to talk all things severe weather or just emergency management preparedness. And this one's actually really interesting. What do we do when spring arrives? Spring projects, we're out planning, we're out doing some stuff. And there's a very important 3-digit number that you need to call, 811, call exactly. Before you dig. Talk to us about that and also why that's such an important number to call.
Well, number one, when you call 811, a locator will be assigned to come out and actually locate any lines that may be in the area. Mm-hmm. It's a free of charge service they provide. But that way you know what you have underneath there and whether or not it's safe to actually dig in that spot that you want to dig in. Mm-hmm. If you don't call and you make the assumption, well, I'm just going to be digging down 6 inches or a foot or so, you're getting into the area where you may have gas lines or electric lines or any of that kind mm-hmm. of stuff. Even though they were put in there 15 or 20 years ago, erosion and the soil settling will actually get that line closer to the surface. So, but you also have to understand, once you make that 811 call, they have 24 hours. That locator has 24 hours to get out there.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they had to be out there as quickly as they have to.
Yes, and they are so busy and cover such a large area that it has been as long as 48 hours in some instances. So don't plan your weekend project and then on Friday evening say, oh my goodness, I need to call 811.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So you need to plan ahead and make that call ahead. And you can even call a week ahead of time. They'll come out with their paint and mark where those lines are so that when you get ready to dig, you already know where everything is and know where to be positioning whatever you're going to be digging for.
And I think it's a good reminder too, because I think you made mention of this just before we went on about how you think you know your property well enough, but you don't realize just the constant erosion and wear away, where actually the level of soil to where these gas and electric lines are can actually over time become less distant. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I see where people park their cars in their front yards and everything. Mm-hmm. When it rains and they park their car in there, they're actually digging a trench. Well, you've got water lines. Right. Most places in San Angelo have the water lines coming in the front yard. May have gas and electricity or even sewer lines. You are getting down closer to that line, right. And instead of being a foot under or 16 inches under, now you're only a foot to 6 inches.
I think the other thing too you mentioned, I just want to clarify too, the 24 hours before they show up, that's for non-emergency. Obviously if something does happen and you call that number, I mean, they're going to make you a priority.
Yes,
in terms of getting out there.
If you actually hit an electric line or a gas line or something like that, make your first call to 911.
Right.
Then make your second call to 811 and let them know, hey, I've struck a line out here. What do I do? And they'll tell you the exact steps you need to do. But the first thing they're going to say is, have you already called 911? Right,
obviously an emergency there. We're going to, of course, always have these slides as well as a link to your office on our Facebook as well as online as well for more information. I'm sure we'll be talking here, especially as we talk severe weather this week coming up, talk a little bit more too over the next couple of days. As always, thank you so much for being here, Steve. Stay with us. We'll have much more news and a look at that forecast coming up after this quick commercial break. We're back in 2.